Hi guys, I'm Mike and this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back guys, it's been a while, but we are back with another instalment in our Driver Rivalries series. Today we look at Sergio Perez versus Nico Hlkenberg and ask that question, who's better? Now obviously a Force India top probably would have been ideal as they were teammates competing directly against each other for 3 years in F1, but I don't have one. But I have a McLaren top which Sergio Perez raced for, ironically probably the worst season he had in Formula 1, and it does have orange which was a main colour in the Force India team, so it'll work for today. But guys, as we usually do with this, what we're going to start off with is we're going to start off looking at the stats of the drivers. So first up, let's have a look at Sergio Perez. He has competed in 177 races with 175 race starts. He has 0 pole positions to his name, but probably more important, he has 8 podiums in his F1 career. He has 574 career points, and he also has 4 fastest laps. Within his time in F1, he has also had 23 retirements as a driver, and 10 of those were not mechanical. So therefore you could kind of say a mixture of driver error and incidents that he wasn't to blame for, but he was involved. So yes, that is Sergio Perez. Now let's look at Nico Hlkenberg. And Nico Hlkenberg has competed in 178 races, 177 of those were race starts, and that is 2 more than Sergio Perez. He has 1 career pole, which obviously came in a Williams in his first season at Brazil at Interlagos, a fantastic qualifying lap there. But he holds that record of being the most race starts without a podium, and of course Nico Hlkenberg has 0 podiums to his name. He has 511 career points as well as 2 fastest laps to his name. He in his career has had 38 retirements and 14 of those were not mechanical. So there are their individual stats of their F1 careers. Being in F1 a similar sort of time, you can tell that from the amount of races that they've competed in. Now, I mentioned it earlier, they did both compete against each other as teammates in at Force India between 2014 and 2016. So what we're going to do now guys is take a closer look at the head-to-head of Nico Hlkenberg versus Sergio Perez. So in qualifying, Nico Hlkenberg wins the battle, beating his teammate 35-24 over the 3 seasons that they competed in F1 together. In terms of overall points they scored in this period though, Sergio Perez wins this one, 238 points to 226. The highest championship position in the World Drivers' Championship for Perez was 7th compared to Nico Hulkenberg's 9th, and the highest race finish was Perez's 3rd to Nico's 4th. Perez obviously wins in terms of podiums. He has 4 compared to Hulkenberg's 0 in this period, and Perez won 2 out of the 3 seasons in the overall head-to-head. So if we were to look overall just at the stats, for me it would say that obviously Sergio Perez is a better driver than Nico Hlkenberg, and then obviously you can tell that obviously Sergio Perez has been rewarded this season with a 5-year deal. Racing Point obviously comes with a lot of sponsorship as well, which is a big factor, and Nico Hlkenberg has been let go from Renault and is now searching around for a seat in 2020, and most likely will be knocking on the door of a lot of F1 teams trying to get a seat in 2021. Now, what I'm going to do is look at my pros and my cons of Nico Hlkenberg and Sergio Perez. So I'll start off with Sergio Perez. His big positive for me is his way that he manages his tyres, and in an era where tyre management has been so important for F1 drivers, I think this has benefited Sergio Perez certainly from getting those better race performances, securing those podiums, which in turn boosts morale for the team, and it has been a really important factor. He also has beaten his teammate in every season since 2015, which, you know, that is 5 seasons back to back, which is pretty impressive stuff. You could argue some of those were teammates that he should have beaten in terms of there, but he beat obviously Nico Hulkenberg in 2 of those seasons, then 2 seasons beating Esteban Ocon. Before this season he will beat Lance Stroll in the championship as well. And considering Lance Stroll has a 4th place to his name this season, the best of a Racing Point driver, so still pretty impressive stuff. The big positive for Nico Hlkenberg is his consistency. Over each season, wherever he's been, he is a consistent point scorer, and he shows that natural bit of pace. He generally qualifies pretty well compared to his teammates, and that is usually one of his biggest strengths. But yes, his consistency to keep turning up whatever machinery that he's in and getting a good performance out of it to secure strong points finishes to enable strong constructors finishes, which is where the teams get their money from for his teams that he's competed in, is a very big positive for Nico Hlkenberg. Moving on to the cons, and the cons for me is Sergio Perez's overall pace. Yes, still a quick driver, but in terms of qualifying, he isn't the greatest qualifier and never really has been throughout his career. And if he didn't have such a heavily dependent era of F1 on tyre management, would he have been as good a driver as what he's been? I don't know, that's up for debate. But would he then have obviously enhanced and been quicker in his performance? One thing for Sergio Perez though, when he performs in a better car, then his performances do improve in line with that. He gets the best out of those performances. But this is cons, and so yes, I think his natural pace compared to other drivers on the grid and compared to Nico Hlkenberg is probably lesser of the two. My big con for Nico Hlkenberg is his ability to perform under pressure. Yes, there have been times in his career where he has been unlucky, whether that be strategy by the team or just by faults of his own and being involved in collisions. I do think that when he's had chances to get big results, Nico Hlkenberg hasn't taken those opportunities, and F1 is an unforgiving sport and you don't get many opportunities, so when you get a sniff of it, no matter what the circumstances, you have to take them. There are obviously some negatives for Nico Hlkenberg that are out of his control as opposed to his height compared to Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez is obviously lighter and a lot shorter, so nimble, and that plays a massive factor in terms of the car and its development there. Nico Hlkenberg, through no fault of his own, is quite a tall guy, so therefore naturally weighs a little bit more. Well, you notice all the tall drivers on the grid. The shorter ones can be a little bit more stocky and have a little bit more muscle on them, where the taller drivers have to be ultra lean and ultra thin just for that kind of extra balance, because funnily enough, those little weight differences do make a difference between the car being quick enough or not. So that is out of his control. But overall, Nico Hlkenberg, his main con there is just his ability that when a big opportunity comes, he seems to find a way of losing that opportunity. Comparing the two's racecraft, I actually think Sergio Perez is the better racer out of the two. Bar the 2018 season where Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon seemed to be clashing all the time, but that was more for the competitiveness of a race seat in 2019, so a little bit more understandable on that aspect. I would say that Sergio Perez is definitely the better overtaker and certainly the better defender on track. Nico Hlkenberg, for me, seems to have been involved in far too many collisions over the course of his career. Obviously having those 38 retirements, yes, some are mechanical from there in terms of percentage to ratio. He probably has a better retirement ratio in that aspect than Sergio Perez. But for me, Nico Hlkenberg, he isn't the greatest overtakers and making his way through the midfield pack. He has, earlier in his career I would say he was better, but as it's gone on, he's more of a steady paced go from there. He doesn't actually take too much risk, and he isn't the best at defending positions for me personally. So I would think Sergio Perez wins on that one in racecraft, But in terms of out and out pace, I did mention it in terms of the main criticism of Sergio Perez. I would say Nico Hulkenberg is the one that beats Sergio Perez in this one. I think Nico Hulkenberg has always naturally been quite a quick driver. Maybe unlucky that he hasn't been given a shot at a big team, but then again you can say the same against Sergio Perez, was given only 1 year in McLaren, and obviously McLaren were on that decline anyway, so not necessarily still one of the big three that have dominated the hybrid era in terms of their performance being so consistent in the midfield. So now guys, we come to the concluding thoughts of who's better, Sergio Perez or Nico Hulkenberg, and for me the winner of this one is Sergio Perez. I just think, having been involved in a similar sort of time, he has about 60 more career points than Nico Hulkenberg has. He has the podiums to his name, he has improved wherever he's gone, he does usually beat his teammate within a team, and for me has always been fantastic. Yes, Sergio Perez has the money backing behind him which helps him secure seats, but what he's done for Racing Point, obviously previously Force India as well, in terms of maximising their results and driving them forward, has been emphatic, and he is really part of that team. For me, Nico Hulkenberg, he's had his chance, he's been in Formula 1 for 10 years, he is still a good driver, but for me he's nothing more than a good driver. They both probably are good drivers, just good drivers, but in terms of comparing them directly, I think that ability for Sergio Perez when a big result is on to capitalise and cash in on that is an important factor for me, and obviously yes, Sergio Perez has been able to secure more points than Nico Hulkenberg over the course of his career, and obviously won the direct head-to-head battle when they were against each other in Force India. Nico Hulkenberg got the edge on Sergio Perez in the first year of their rivalry, but 2 years after that, the subsequent 2 years following after that, Sergio Perez was able to win and was beating Nico Hlkenberg in the inter-team battles at the end. So there you have it guys, there is my thoughts on who's better, Sergio Perez or Nico Hlkenberg, and for me the answer is Sergio Perez. But what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you agree with the points that I've put across? Do you think Nico Hlkenberg is the better driver? I would love to hear from you in the comments below. If you like this video guys, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Like I said, comment down below on your thoughts on the video, and don't forget, if you are new around here, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification, and you can keep up to date with all our latest content. But for now, you F1 fans, keep racing!